Hi guys, it's Dawn's Apothecary and I am coming back to you with another video on another event that I've been to and also a nice weekend away hobbying, which started, as this slide will hopefully tell most people, at Warhammer World on Thursday last week. I went to an event hosted at Element Games called King in the North, which is in affiliation with Winters SEO. And the event really was a one-day event on Saturday. 3 games at 1250 points, so quite small points levels. The idea being just kind of casual kind of narrative play, bit of fun really, but also an opportunity to throw dice with some people in a nice setting, and people that I've not met and seen on people's on the Discord for Winters, and seen all their hobby and kind of pictures and things. So it's nice to put names to faces and so on. So Warhammer World, as lots of people will be aware, is up in Nottingham, and some amazing kind of displays up there, which are fantastic. If anyone hasn't been there, I'd certainly strongly suggest taking a trip there at some point. I've heard that people take kind of several hours to walk around all the displays and the setup there. For me personally, I didn't take that long. Maybe it's because I've been there before, but I could certainly think you can make a day of it, and especially if you were lucky enough to kind of book a table. Bugman's is great there for food, so lots of inspiration and for your hobby, and kind of nice to kind of set up for the day there. The 40k displays are amazing, as are the Age of Sigmar ones, and just the scale of it is massive. The fact that they're using things like hierophants as a bit of kind of basing scenery and debris is kind of gives you scope for kind of how big some of these things are, and it's amazing how it's all been put together. So the event, as I said, was 1250 points, and this was a first run out for my Hive fleet. So like a lot of people, Leviathan rolled around. I picked up some Tyranids, and in truth, I've fallen in love with painting these guys in my own custom Hive fleet color scheme, and I decided to kind of go all in on Vanguard as a detachment. So this is mainly a focus on lictors and stealth and fallback and charge and advance and charge, and it's a nice themed list, albeit I didn't have all the models that I'd wanted to field the army I wanted to. So I've got a couple Screamer Killers in there, which, as we'll go on to talk about, were pretty underwhelming this weekend. So Death Leaper normally can't be taken as your Warlord, except in this detachment, and he's the Death Leaper, so he was my Warlord. We had also a Neuro Tyrant with an enhancement which did literally nothing this weekend, and if I'd had a couple extra points, I'd have definitely invested in a different one. The list included Lictor, Maleceptor, Neurolictor, Ripper Swarms, which were my MVP in one of my games, just simply by being alive, 2 Screamer Killers, 3 Tyrant Guards go with the Neuro Tyrant, and 12 Von Ryan's Leapers, which were a lot of fun. There's a lot of utility in them, especially with fallback and charge and some of the other things you can do with them with some of the stratagems. So I arrived at Element on Friday. Had a couple games on Friday. Unfortunately, I didn't get any pictures of the second game, so I was too busy having my ass handed to me by the Blood Angels. But had a great game against a kind of mixed infantry and Rogue Dawn supported Astra Militarum list, and I got false hopes with the Screamer Killer in this game, as it kind of I thought he's done quite well there, and chopped up a couple of characters, managed to do a bit of damage to a tank, I had my hopes high for the pair over the weekend, and sadly that was not to prove true. First game that I played for the actual event on the Saturday was against Necrons, and people may have seen this army before. So this is Ross from RGB Miniatures, who is on Instagram. You can track him down. Beautifully painted Necron army, and yeah, really lovely. One of his first games of 10th edition, and in this game, lots of infantry. My army did really well going into these big blocks of Necron warriors, so that was fortuitous and played into the mission that we were playing. Picture on right is probably my favourite moment of the game, whereby the Necron contract, I'm trying to think, it's something Stalker, exploded and killed both of my Screamer Killers with mortal wounds, and basically left that corner of the battlefield pretty empty. That was the game that I won for the event, which is a bit of foreboding for the next two games. My second game I played against Craig, who I've met at a few events now. He brought knights, and the mission was around standing on objectives. And when you don't really have anything strong enough to crack a knight chassis, it becomes a slightly one-sided affair. And unsurprisingly, he did a number on me in terms of this game. And three of his armigers were killed, and that was due to the mission rules, whereby standing on objectives also resulted in you taking mortal wounds, and not due to my wonderful gameplay. So having got myself thoroughly demoralised by playing knights, I was matched up against knights for a second time, and this was literally kill points. And these two pictures were, I think, about one turn apart, maybe even the same battle round. A 12-inch charge from this big boy went into my Maleceptor, tore my Maleceptor apart. I tried to use my Screamer Killers to the same effect that I thought they would against the Rebel Dawn, and they totally whiffed, and both of them were killed pretty much in the same turn of combat. So what I found out is that I don't like knights, and that my army was not geared up to deal with them. So from my point of view, that was I used this really as an opportunity to, one, get some games in, but secondly to also just enjoy the understanding what my list does, or what it should do, what it does well at, and understand where some of its limitations are. Now, these aren't obviously match play games, but what I did have an opportunity to do is play against another list, so another 50-point list in a kind of match play Leviathan deck format, and actually really close game. In spite of him having lots of tanks, because of the stratagems and the fact that my list has several lone operatives, actually the mission play on my list is actually pretty sound. So this came down to the final round of the game, and I was 5 points ahead going into the guard player's last turn, and he drew two of the secretaries. Well, I think one required him to be in my deployment zone, and the other required him to perform an action standing on the middle of the board, and that was achieved through the careful movement of two tanks. So ended up with an 80-79 point in favour of the guard, but actually kind of reinvigorated my feelings that actually the list concept is sound. We just need to think about how we're going to combat some of these slightly skewed kind of armour lists, which, in fairness, in 10th edition, it sounds like there are lots of people who are struggling to crack that as well. So not just simply a problem with my list. So what is up next? Well, I am part of the South West and Wales Amateur Gaming Group, swag, and we have a league which happened last year. I did not take part just because of other commitments and things with work, but I've committed to that this year, and I've decided to take my Tyranids and to build on what I've been doing so far. So you commit to a faction, it's 17 50-point games, and the idea is you can change up your list, but largely speaking, it's kind of about focusing on the same faction. So this gives me an opportunity to commit to at least one game a month, where I'm using my Tyranids, and additionally I can then begin to kind of get a feel for my list. So hopefully over the next few months I can focus my hobby down a little bit, build upon my experiences of this weekend, and I will keep you up to date with how things go with my Hive fleet. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed that. I will keep everyone abreast of my hobby in other areas as well, and I will see you in the next one. So take care.